Former astronauts share ways to cope with social distancing and isolation. They say take stock of your situation, make an honest assessment of where you are. It's by Forbes on WND. If anyone knows about how to deal with being far from family and friends and working in close quarters, it's astronauts. From the earliest space missions with capsules barely bigger than astronauts and their equipment to record-setting durations aboard the International Space Station, the ISS, astronauts have pushed the physical, psychological, and emotional limits of spending time in space and conducting research there. In the past few decades, NASA has become increasingly concerned with the toll of spending time on space missions, from extended ISS missions to the prospect of weeks or months-long lunar or Mars missions, and even colonization. There's a lot of try and understand when it comes to sending humans into space for any length of time. Isolation and confinement is like being alone in a cramped space, and that feeling worsens over time. This is what Bill Pawlowski, PhD, director of NASA's Human Research Program, HRP, says. The longer and longer a person spends in that kind of environment, there's a potential for bigger and bigger problems. Well, look, okay, today we have something very useful in that we have our social media that we can use to get in touch with each other. I mean, that's how I get in touch with my children and my grandchildren through Messenger on Facebook, for example. We have our telephones, we have our social media, thank goodness. Now, so that helps. He says it comes to bigger problems, so as part of the attempt to understand, he says, these potential problems and prepare astronauts. NASA funded the High Seas mission on the slopes of Mauna Kea. The Martian-like environment offers participants a realistic situation simulation of what life will be like for astronauts on Mars someday. During each of the 6 missions between 2013 and 18, 4 to 6 person crews operated in isolated independence and attempting to maintain self-reliance and sanity for up to 1 year. And NASA is not alone in this. Between 2007 and 11, 3 crews of volunteers participated in the simulated Mars isolation study called Mars 500. This was supported by Russia, China, and the European Space Agency, ESA. In March 2019, international participants in the Scientific International Research in Unique Terrestrial Situation Station, Sirius 1819, spent 4 months in isolation, and China has run a series of small crew isolation experiments and their simulated lunar Pallas 1 facility. All this is to say astronauts know a lot about isolation and social distancing, how to live in small spaces with limited resources, and who better to provide us all advice on the current social conditions, which range from border closings and self-quarantine to total lockdown, depending on where you live, than these experts. And they say, take stock of your situation, make an honest assessment of where you are. This is what Dr. Cao, who spent more than 229 days in space over the course of several missions, says. He says, what resources do you have and how long might you be in that situation? That helps you prepare mentally. Well, we don't know. I mean, the thing is this, we don't know what resources we're going to have because we don't know if the people before us that run to the supermarkets pick up everything and there's nothing left for those who come after that person. And this it creates more of an anxiety in the new situation that most people are finding themselves in. Now, I'm sitting in Athens, Greece, and we're in a situation where we have the weekend. Today's Saturday, tomorrow's Sunday. Of course, the churches are closed, and I'm terribly anxious that I cannot unite myself through the Holy Eucharist with our Lord Jesus Christ. And I'm sure a lot of Christians worldwide are having that problem. But the thing is, a lot of people have left our area of the capital of Athens, have gone to the islands. They've gone to their homes out in the country, okay? And usually it's their parents' homes or where their roots are, their grandparents out in the country. And a lot of them have infected other people. They didn't know they had this, and they have infected other people. And the thing is that in these islands, you don't have proper medical care. So who's going to take care of the ones that are, this is ridiculous. I mean, it's surreal. It's worse than a Kafka surreal novel. We're living worse than Kafka novels here. Anyway, so we don't know what our situation and resources are. I mean, okay, you astronauts knew how long you would be up there, and you took with you whatever you would need. We don't know this situation, so it's a lot worse for us. It's nice for you to sit there and say, assess your situation. We can't even do that. There's a lot of people that have lost their jobs, and they don't know how they're going to, exist next week. Let's put it that way, unfortunately. So it's nice for them to give us their advice and sharing their stories, preparing us mentally. Yeah, it would help if we had our resources. That would ensure that we had less of a stress and anxiety mentally, psychologically. So at the end of the day, seeing the bigger picture can help keep it all in perspective. Astronauts get to look down to Earth, remember what their missions are for. Okay, that's great, your missions. We have missions too. We have our families to take care of, and we have our future generations to take care of. And hopefully the government will realize that this is I don't even know if this has ever happened in the history of mankind, really. Worldwide, God forbid. And here we are in the days of Lent before Easter as well, the very holy day, the most holy time of the year. As for our situation here in Greece, I think that after Sunday, because the weather is getting very nice and beautiful and people like to go to the beach on the weekends, if the Prime Minister of Greece, Mitsotakis, sees that people are not keeping themselves indoors and that are running around as usual, he may just have to put in place a lockdown to sort of bring us to discipline. Because, I have to tell you that all of us people of the Mediterranean, South Mediterranean, we are not well disciplined. We just love to go out and have a nice time. The weather, dictates that. So we'll see what happens. Which means that he will have official representatives out on the streets making sure that people are indoors, unless they have reason to be out, for example, going to the doctor, to the pharmacy, or food shopping. Like today, I was just out today. Oh, I took a picture of that. I'm going to post it, next video. There was this woman. I mean, I had made her out to be what? 60? Between 55 and 65, somewhere around there. She was just milling around on the street, taking a very slow stroll. And the thing is that you're not supposed to be doing that. I guess she just was too tired and cooped up in her house. I don't know what she was doing, but that's not to be done. Anyway, so we'll see what happens as of Monday. Please keep safe and take care of each other. God bless you all and protect you. Thank you for your support. If you'd like to join me on my Patreon account, you will hear content not covered by mainstream media. These riveting stories will be based on my research, and I will state my opinions and give my personal insight on diverse and controversial subjects and world events not covered by mainstream media, and not supported by YouTube guidelines. So whatever I have on my Patreon, most of those will not be on my YouTube channel. Please consider becoming a member today. More of the most significant and important videos will be on my Patreon channel. Your support helps me to continue my research and keeps this YouTube channel alive. And we depend on your support, your generous charity, because we help economically challenged families here in Athens, Greece, in Kapota, and we also help the young generation with university tuition and the community around our church. Thank you.